Good morning, children. We'll continue with the social class now. Yesterday, I have already told you about the Bhakti movement. So, what about Bhakti? It's nothing but devotion to God. And God, I told you, it's nothing but a supernatural power. So, now let us see the results of the Bhakti movement. But what were the results of this Bhakti movement? Bhakti movement, I told you, because there are some reformers who wanted to bring oneness among everybody. There should not be any difference between caste, creed, etc. So now let us see the result of that. What happened? It brought the Hindus and the Muslims closer to each other. So because of this Bhakti movement, the people started, the social reformers started preaching about oneness. So what happened? Hindus and Muslims became very close to each other. They were feeling that they are all like brothers and sisters. He created better understanding and harmony. Sorry, not he. It created better understanding and harmony. So what happened? So people started understanding each other and they brought unity among themselves. It created better understanding and harmony among the followers of different religions. Though it was different religions, and I told you religion is done by man only. It is not created by anybody. It is done by human beings. So now they felt that we should not have different religions. It gave a sense of dignity to the downtrodden. Downtrodden means, I told you, like untouchable. That means very low caste people and low graded people. They were called as downtrodden. Means nobody used to go and mingle with them. Nobody used to touch them. And they used to keep them away from everything. All social activities, they used to keep them away. But because of this Bhakti movement, what happened? It gave a sense of dignity to the downtrodden. Even those people also were taken care and they were also treated as dignified people. Bhakti literature was written in regional languages. It enriched Indian literature. So the Bhakti literature, see whatever was written about Bhakti movement, that was written in the regional languages. Regional languages means now for example Karnataka, Kannada is a regional language. Kerala, if you take Malayalam is a regional language. Tamil Nadu, Tamil is regional language. So like that what happened, these languages, the literature of Bhakti movement, that means the history of all this Bhakti movement was written in the regional language just so that it was easy for people to understand, to read it well. So that is about the results. Once again I will read it for you. The results of the Bhakti movement were, it brought the Hindus and the Muslims closer to each other. It created better understanding and harmony among the followers of different religions. It gave a sense of dignity to the downtrodden. Bhakti literature was written in regional languages. It enriched Indian literature. Now coming to the next one is important Bhakti saints. Saints are nothing but the people, those were working as social reformers. We can call them as sages because they do not have any pleasure. They want to just preach and bring oneness, and they wanted to sacrifice themselves for the good of the society. Now, important Bhakti saints were Ramananda, Kabir Das, Guru Nanak, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Surdas, Tulsidas and Mirabai were some of the great reformers of the Bhakti movement. So, we will go in detail about all these saints, or what you call it as sannyasis or sages. Okay. Now, let us go in detail about that, and finally I will be showing the images of these people. Some are already here, some I will be showing you. Now, Ramananda, he lived in 1400 to 1470 AD. Now, Ramananda probably lived during the second half of the 14th century. So, second half of 14th century. So, 14th century means how much it is? 1401 to 1500. So, he lived during the second half of the 14th century. He was a follower of Ramanujacharya. So, Ramananda was a follower of one more reformer, and he is Ramanujacharya. He was a guru for Ramananda. So, born at Prayag, he preached at Varanasi. So, where did he take his birth? He took his birth at Prayag and he preached at Varanasi. So, his teachings and devotion, everything was where? In Varanasi. He was a devotee of Lord Rama. So, because of that only his name has come as Ramananda. So, he was a great devotee of Lord Rama. He strongly, Rama, you know, no? A person disciples, he taught in Hindi instead of Sanskrit. So what he did, he strongly opposed the caste system. He said that there is no caste among the human beings, all are one, all are equal. So you should not have a difference between that caste, this caste, low caste, high caste, nothing like that. People from all castes were his disciples. So people from different castes, because I told you castes are formed by human beings. So what he used to do, he used to call the people and teach them. So the people, those who are sitting as what? Students, we call them as disciples. Understood? So he used to teach people of all castes. There was no difference between the caste. So what is said here? People from all castes were his disciples. Disciples means here it is nothing but students. He taught in Hindi instead of Sanskrit. So which language he has taught? He used to teach the students in Hindi language but not Sanskrit. Because most of the saints were teaching in Sanskrit, but he was teaching in Hindi. Coming to the next one is Kabir Das, who lived in 1440 to 1518 AD. So again he is also from 14th to 15th century. End of 14th and 15th century he was there. So Kabir Das lived in the 15th century. He was born to a Brahmin widow who abandoned him. Means Kabir Das lived in the 15th century. He was born to a Brahmin widow. Widow means what? One who has lost her husband. We call her as widow. So she has born to a Brahmin widow who abandoned him. Means she never took care of this child. Who? Kabir Das. He was rescued and brought up in the house of a Muslim weaver, Nehru, because his mother had just left him. Because she was a widow and she had given birth to Kabir Das. So what she did? She just left him, left the child, and she went away. So but then what happened? A Muslim family took care, a Muslim weaver took care of that child and brought up that child, made the child to grow in that house, Muslim's house. So his Muslim weaver's name was Nehru. His mother was Nima. His stepmother means the one who was taking care of the mother, the one who was taking care of this child. Well, father's name was Nehru and that mother's name was Nima. So he followed his foster father's profession. So he followed foster father's profession means, who is foster father? The Muslim weaver Nehru. So he was what? What was his business or what was the work he was doing? He was a weaver, weaving the clothes. So what did Kabir Das do when he grew up? He just took the same work or same job as his father. What was his father? He was a weaver. So he was influenced both by Hindu and Sufi traditions. So Hindus means because he was born by a Brahmin widow, and then Sufi means like Muslims. So he was following both the customs of Hindus and Sufis. Now he has written some small poems like, and that is called as Doha. Doha is nothing but a couple of which is written in Hindi. Okay, that is called as Doha. This was written by Kabir Das. Now let us see his teachings. Kabir Das, you can see here his teachings. Kabir Das was a disciple of Ramananda. So here you have seen Ramananda, and he was a disciple. He was a student of Ramananda. Then his disciples belonged to various caste groups. His dohas became very popular. So what happened? He also, because he was a disciple of Ramananda, he also never had any difference between caste. So all the caste people were his students or disciples. And what did he do? He has written small devotional songs, which is devotional and moral, with a moral. So that is called as dohas. Already I told you. Okay. He preached that God is one, whether we worship him as Allah or Ram. What did he say? There is no difference. God is only one. We are calling them as if Muslims they call as Allah. Now if it is Hindus they call Krishna, then Ganapati, Ishvara, those things are there, Brahma, Vishnu and Maheshwara and all that. And then like that different names, God has been called by different names. Again that is also done by human beings only. So what he said? There is nothing like different gods. It is only one God. and that God is called either in the name of Allah or Ram. Both means the same. God lives in our heart and is full of love. So where is God? God is not seen anywhere. Where is God? God is in our heart itself. He regarded rituals and ceremonies as meaningless. So rituals means now celebrations. For example, now if somebody takes birth, there is some ceremonies. Then during marriages there are some ceremonies. During death time there are some ceremonies and some rituals will be taking place now. So what did Kabir Das say? It is all waste. There is nothing meaning in doing these rituals and ceremonies. So he was against idol worship. He never liked idol worship. Idol worship means what? We keep statues at home, no? Statues or photos, and then we go on worshipping as God, isn't it? So he never liked that, keeping statues in the house and worshipping. So he was against idol worship. Idol means statues. His teachings greatly influenced other saints and brought the Hindus and Muslims closer. So he was so very good preacher. Preacher means he was teaching about God. So what he was saying, he used to give so many points. I told you about the results of Bhakti movement, you know. So he used to give so many points about it that influenced so many people. And so many people became very close to Kabir Das. They became disciples of Kabir Das. Disciples means students. He was a great, so what happened, see, his teachings greatly influenced other saints, means other people, those who are preaching also, they also became influenced by his teachings and brought the Hindus and Muslims closer. Because he said, Allah, Ram, everybody are the same. There is only one God. So he was a great philosopher, poet and a singer. So he used to write so many things and he was writing poems also, as well as he used to sing it. So he was a philosopher, poet and a singer. So that's about Kabir Das. Now coming to the next one is about Guru Nanak. So Guru Nanak is one more saint. He lived between 1469 to 1539 AD. Again he is in the 15th century. So Guru Nanak was born at Talawandi in West Punjab, which is called as Pakistan. Now it is called as Pakistan. Earlier it was called as West Punjab. So he was the founder of Sikhism. Guru Nanak was the founder of Sikhism. One more religion is Sikhism. Sikhs we call Sikhism. His teachings and verses known as Japji were later written down to form the holy book, the Adi Granth Sahib or Guru Granth Sahib. So what happened? His teachings, he also has done so many teachings. He used to collect the students and he even used to preach about God is one, like that he used to say. But what happened? What the literature, what he has written was Japji, were later written down from the holy book. So all that now have Kabir Das was writing dohas. He was writing this in the form of Japji, and that was made into a book. They published it as a book, and that book is called as the Adi Granth Sahib or Guru Granth Sahib. So the holy book of this Sikhs is nothing but we call it as Guru Granth Sahib or Adi Granth Sahib. So Guru Nanak taught that the only way to attain God was through love. So what he said, if you have to just be as a good person, we should show more and more love towards others, so that we will be very close to God. One must get initiated by a guru and learn lessons and on bhakti. So one must get initiated by a guru. I told you, you require somebody to guide you. The person who is guiding you is called as guru. And yesterday itself I have told you, especially the first gurus at home is your own parents and especially the mother. So mother is called as the first guru. Okay. So like that, if you have to get anything, first you require the guidance of somebody who has knowledge. So that person is called as the guru. So one must get initiated by a guru and learn lessons on bhakti. Bhakti alone will help attain salvation. Salvation, yesterday I told you again, it is nothing but attaining mukti. Means whatever you do, you should have a satisfaction about it. So, bhakti alone will help at a salvation. Means if you have to succeed in your work, what you have to do? You have to do it with devotion. That's the meaning. Whatever you do it with devotion. He attacked the caste system, idol worship, and meaningless rituals. What did he do? He attacked the caste system. Even he was against caste. Don't think that they are higher caste, this is lower caste, this is middle caste, nothing like that. There is no caste because that is done by man. And idol worship, he never liked idol worship. Idol worship means keeping statues and worshipping. In the temples also you can see there will be statues only. That is called as idols. And meaningless rituals. So I told you they will be doing some rituals and ceremonies, He was against all that, Guru Nanak. He preached equality between men and women. So he said there should not be a difference between men and women. Again, men and women are also equal in the society. Normally what happens, especially in India, men are always kept at a higher standard and women are always kept at lower standard. But nowadays it is changing. So what happened earlier, boys were sent to school for learning purpose, but girls were not sent to school because they used to feel that girls are fit for nothing, they should not get more knowledge. Okay, but now it is not the case. Now everybody are treated as equal in any field you take. Both you can see men as well as women. So he was against keeping that inequality between men and women. So I'll show you the images.